Hey guys, how's it going? So this weekend I'm going down to Ohio. I'm not going to be doing any fishing. Doing a college thing. So what I'm really going to showcase is going to be your best spawn lures for each stage of the spawn. I'm going to break it down by each stage of the spawn, even by temperature, and we're going to go with that. So first of all, for the pre-spawn, when the water's about 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to want some flippin' jigs. And I've got some right here that I can show you. These ones, both of these are Strike King, I believe. And there's people yelling outside. I'm sorry about that. But this black and blue works pretty good for a lot of water. You can't. It's hard to find around me for some reason. It's hard for me to find a chartreuse jig, which is what I'd fish if I was up north in a lake that I won't name. I know guys like John B. Lake X. I think that's not even the real name of the lake. He just covers it up because his family's been fishing it for years. The same with this. So we're gonna call it Lake Alpha. And so flipping jigs, anything that really imitates a crawl. I do have the Krackin crawl on there. It's got some really good action. You just gotta run it on the bottom like that, and slow retrieval. They're gonna be eating on those crawls. They're gonna be feeding on the crawls as they come more shallow for the bass. Another thing are creature baits. I don't have one out right now, but one that I do recommend is Strike King, the KVD Perfect Plastics. And those are really good ones that I've personally had some good experience with. Very effective. Crawl baits. Got them right here. More of the Krackin Kraw. That's what I put out as a trailer on there. Flipping jigs with the trailer. The trailer is really important. It's going to conceal that hook more, and it's going to make it like a crawl. Alright, now, when you get into the spawn, the actual spawn, when the water temperature is about 60 degrees, I do have notes, is when you're going to start throwing stuff like crankbaits. This is a really good color that I can't wait to try. The spawn hasn't hit yet here in Michigan. We're just starting to get into the pre-spawn in a couple weeks or so. We should be there. Water's about 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Next weekend, I'm going to do some fishing, and we're going to try then, see how that works. But they're only going to be in pre-spawn then. This is from a mystery tackle box. I don't know what it exactly is, but it's got that nice bluegill color. It's meant to look like a bluegill, and that's going to be one of the fish that bass are really going to be biting at when they come up on the bed. So just cast this past the bed, and reel it in through their bed, and you should get some bites on that. Next is going to be swim jigs with a trailer. Now this is I'm going to call it a chartreuse sexy shad. That's that. This is definitely a Strike King swim jig, tour grade. And so throw that out in the water. Work it with a trailer like this. Maybe pick one with a little more of a chartreuse. And this is the Shimmer Shad by Catch Co. Won 10,000 fish. And also spinner baits. I don't have a good one that I can show you, but spinner baits. Anything that really imitates a bait fish or something that's going to be trying to attack the bass beds. And now finally, the post-spawn. Post-spawn, it gets a little more difficult, a little more challenging. For bass, when it comes to their post-spawn, you're going to want to throw frogs. And there's a few styles of frogs that I have that you're going to throw topwaters. If you're throwing frogs, if you've got to cast up into lily pads, you're going to want to throw a frog. This is a Lunker Hunt pocket frog. They also have the Lunker Hunt, I think it's the lunker frog is what it's called. You also have frogs like this. This is a really small one with the tail. You might want to trim that down to about here, because a lot of times a bass will eat that tail and they won't actually eat the frog, which is what you want because the hooks are right there. So if you can trim it down to an acceptable length, depending how the fish are biting, whatever. Now, if you're casting on the outside of lily pads, if the bass have come a little further out, if you're really getting late, and the post spawn happens when the water temperature is about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to want to throw stuff like poppers, cast them to the outsides of lily pads, stuff like this. This is an old school hula popper. It's the plastic, it's not the wooden. Or maybe a jitterbug. Jitterbug will probably work too. Arbogast is representing today. Not sponsored. If you want, you can go ahead and sponsor me. But wind just blew the door open that doesn't latch. And then that's what males will be feeding on. Males are going to be near the beds, kind of protecting what was their bed, protecting the babies. The females have moved a little further out. They're going to be feeding on bait fish. They're not going to be feeding on top water. The babies are going to be a little higher up. The males are going to be protecting them, so they'll be feeding on top water with the babies. So you're going to want to throw some swim baits out there. This is shimmer shad. This is shad color. You might even be able to tie this on as a trailer with this swim bait right here. Like I said, I'd go with something that has a little more chartreuse, sexy shads, and match that more. But yeah, and so what I do also, because they're going to want some slow-moving baits, they just got done giving birth. They're going to be slow, a little lazy, for the lack of a better term. Throw this or any swim bait. If you're in a lake that has a shad, do that. Anything that mimics the bait fish in that particular lake, and throw it on a drop shot. Just cast it out there and let it sit. It doesn't have to be much. You know, a simple drop shot, maybe even wacky rig a soft plastic worm. But that's all I got before tomorrow. Head out about 4 o'clock. Wake up about 4 o'clock in the morning, head out about 5:30 down to Ohio. So that's what's up. See you folks later.